Good evening. Uh, Today, no one able to make it for online session, but anyway, I wanted to continue today because this is the last part for Unit 3. So it's better to finish this one via online. Maybe we can take a call whether it is appropriate method or not. We can take a call this weekend class. So let us continue with the session by myself, but it's in a recorded video. So today we are going to discuss how to integrate quantitative and qualitative data in your research, as well as the reliability and the validity, how the quantitative data is going to be reliable and valid one. So what are all the mechanisms we are going to use for make sure the data are reliable, valid one. So what are all the techniques available in qualitative research, how we are going to ensure the validity of the data, then how to integrate quantitative and qualitative methods. Do we have any structured methods are there or not? So that there are three things we are going to discuss. One is how to integrate, then reliability and validity, then integration of qualitative and mixed methods. That's what today's session we are going to discuss. In general, mixed method it involves the combination or integration of qualitative and quantitative research and data in research study. So qualitative it's merely a text. Quantitative it's a number. Mixed method is involved in combining or integrating both numbers and data in both numbers and text or pictures. How to integrate both text and pictures, or you can say qualitative and quantitative research data into your research study. So that's a part now we are going to discuss. In your same study, either it is qualitative or quantitative, if you are combining both closed-ended questions in your interview schedules, if you are combining both quantitative and qualitative, that's one way of integrating. That's one way of doing mixed methods. So qualitative data tends to be open-ended without predetermined response, but quantitative data usually include close-ended response, such as yes or no type questions, or you can give 2-point scale, 3-point scale, or 4 or 5-point scale. These scales will applicable to restricted to the respondent, either go with the answer given to them. But in qualitative, it's a more or less it's an open-ended one. You are free to write what you want to answer for that particular question. So how to mix both qualitative and quantitative data into your research? That's the point we are going to discuss today. In generally in mixed method, we were using, if the same questionnaire, if you are using open-ended question as well as closed-ended question, then it's a first step of integrating qualitative and quantitative research, qualitative and quantitative data. So there are procedure for expanding mixed method to develop such. There are different way you can be able to integrate. So way to integrate the quantitative and qualitative data, such as one database would be used to check accuracy of other database. So the purpose of mixing both qualitative and quantitative is one way of checking the validity of our data. So that in simple way, you can say one database can be checked with the other database. For example, you can check your data which you collected from quantitative into qualitative. So it will give more or less, if you are going with the mixed method, you are getting more valid data, because there is a possibility of checking both qualitative and quantitative using different research methods. So this one database could help to explain other database also. Though it is two different things, but it can be, if it is integrated, it can be supportive to each other. So one database could help to explain other database, or one database could explore different type of questions than other database. For example, if you are go with quantitative, you are going to be restricted with certain items. But if you are using open-ended questions in your quantitative study, you can get more or different types of questions you can able to post it. So one database could be lead to better instruments when instruments are not well suited for some for sample or populations. So in some case, certain populations, if you are studying certain population, maybe a risk group, if you are studying, in that case, finding a risk group, it is not easy task. If that kind of situations, we can employ certain database or certain method that will be effective. Certain database or certain methods are very effective in certain degree of populations you are going to study. So one database could build another database. One database could be an alternative with another database back and forth during longitudinal studies. If you are doing a longer period of study, sometimes you can go with you can start with quantitative, but later you can incorporate qualitative tools as well. So it's a longer period of time you can able to do your study combining both the quantitative and the qualitative. So these in several way you can able to expand your the scope for mixed method. Um, how to conversant both uh, the for conversant there are four type of integrating. There are four types you can able to integrate qualitative and quantitative studies. Um, the first one, conversant with the parallel mixed methods. So this conversion parallel mixed method, it's the first method. You can first type of integrations of both qualitative and quantitative. So conversant parallel mixed method is a form of mixed method design in which the researcher covers or merge quantitative and qualitative data in order to provide comprehensive analysis of the research problems. So the first step or the first method, it's convergent parallel mixed method. So this one try converge or merge both quantitative and qualitative data in order to provide comprehensive analysis for your research problem. So this design, the investigator typically collect both forms of data at roughly the same time. He is not going to do it separately. At the same time, the researcher is doing data collections, both quantitative and qualitative, then integration of information in the interpretation of overall result. So even collection is same time, and also integration of the information in your interpretations of overall your result. So you are not going to do it separately, but you are going to do it in a single table, combining both qualitative and quantitative data. The example given here, the convergent parallel mixed method, you can do quantitative data collection and analysis when qualitative data collection and analysis quail, then you are compare or relate each other. Maybe you in a same theme or same table, you can compare both qualitative and quantitative data, then you are writing your interpretation. The method, explanatory sequential mixed method. So first one, the interpretation of the convergent parallel mixed method. The second one, explanatory sequential mixed method. So the explanatory sequential mixed method is one in which the researcher first conducted quantitative research, analyze the result, then build on the result to explain them in more detail with the qualitative research. So this explanatory sequential method, what you are doing here, you need to start your data collections using quantitative research, and also you are doing analysis of the result. Then you are going to build your analysis using the results is going to be explained them in a more detail with the qualitative research. So once you are finishing your quantitative components, even analysis you are finishing, then you are coming up with the results. That result is going to be explained using qualitative research. So this, it is considered explanatory because the initial quantitative data results are explained further with the qualitative data, it is considered a sequential because the initial quantitative phase is followed by qualitative phase. So once you confine your results, that result is going to be strengthened, or uh, you are going to use explanatory purpose. Qualitative is going to be integrated for the purpose of explaining your research problem or research theme. The explanation given using this diagram, it clearly shows the quantitative data collection and analysis queen is going to be introduced, are going to be used, then follow up with the qualitative data collection and analysis is going to be incorporated later. Then you are going to be for a final interpretations. The third one, exploratory sequential method, mixed method. Exploratory sequential mixed method is the reverse sequence from explanatory sequential research design. In your um, explanatory, you are starting with the quantitative, then you are mixing qualitative. But in exploratory research design, mixed method research design, you are going opposite directions. In exploratory sequential approach, the researcher must first begin with the qualitative research phase, then explore the views of the participants. He is going to apply qualitative data collection instruments, explore the views of the participants. The data are then analyzed and information is used to build into second quantitative phase. So the qualitative phase may be used to build the instruments that best fit to the sample under the study, to identify appropriate instruments to use the follow-up quantitative phase, or specific variables that needs to be go into a follow-up of quantitative study. You are not going to go with everything. Wherever you need, you are incorporating or integrating quantitative method. Not necessary to go with the entire study. Wherever you find it is lacking or it needs special effort, you are going to find out that particular variable, then you are integrating your quantitative method. For example, I can able to quote from my study, which I recently did in 2015. I did in Sri Lanka. So the entire study is with qualitative, but certain component identifying perception of the fishing community, we used quantitative component. Example given here. So you are starting with quail, then you are build your results, then you are going with the quantitative data analysis and data collection and analysis queen, then you are doing your interpretation. The fourth one, transformative mixed method. Transformative mixed method, this is the basic model, then can be used into more advanced mixed method strategies. Because so far we studied three type of mixed method research. Now we are moving into fourth one, transformative mixed method. It's an advanced mixed method strategy. This transformative mixed method is a design that uses a theoretical lens drawn from social justice or power as an overreaching perspective within a design that contain both quantitative and qualitative. So the data in this form of study could be converged or it could be ordered sequentially with one building on others. So this you are going to use it's a more transformative mixed method. It is more or less it's an action research. So this action research is you are going to use this as a research design, uses theoretical perspective to build theoretical perspective to drawn from social justice or power as an overreaching perspective within this design. So this design contains both quantitative and qualitative data. So this form of study could be converged, could be orderly sequential with one building on others. The fifth one, uh, is going to be, so the fifth one is going to be embodied mixed method design. Embodied mixed method design involves as well as either convergent or sequential use of data, but the core idea is that either quantitative or qualitative based data is embodied within a larger design. For example, an experimental design, and the data source play supporting role in overall design here. The multi-phase mixed method design, that is the sixth one, Sixth design in mixed method research design is a common in the field of evaluation or program interventions. So the advantages for this design, concurrent sequential strategies are used in tandem over the time of best understanding the long-term program goal. So this transformative mixed method, there are three type of applications are there. One is when you are going to use that's you are using this as an a theoretical perspective, then this is embodied with mixed embodied with the data, then using in evaluatory kind of research. So when you are looking at the diagram here, the embodied mixed method, you are either you are going with the quantitative, sometimes you are going with the quantitative or qualitative, or quantitative or qualitative data. You can able to vice versa, you can able to change. If you are starting with the quantitative or qualitative, vice versa, you can able to change. Data collection and analysis, you are equally or sequentially, you are maybe you are going starting with this, then you are going to this one, then again you are coming back to the first one. So you are going in a sequential order. So the qualitative or quantitative, you are starting with that, doing your data collection, everything before, during, after, you can make changes according to the need. You can make changes. Embodied one, maybe you can start with the before or during or after. Maybe if you are doing a historical analysis, you are doing a historical analysis, maybe you are asking what happened 10 years before, what is happening right now, what is going to happen in future. So either at the past you can go with the qualitative, or present you can go with the quantitative. Future you can ask them again to qualitative. So you can able to make sequence. So queen or quail, it depends upon the nature of data you can use. So then you can go for a interpretations. Transformative mixed method, if you are involved in transformative framework, maybe you can say feministic view, racial view, disability view, or the discriminatory view, or exclusion studies, you can use transformative mixed method. So you are convergent with you are convergent, explanatory, exploratory, or embodied mixed method. Uh, Depends upon the situations. Either you can pick convergent or exploratory or explanatory or embodied mixed method. You can do it because you are going to do this research along with the people as per the convenience of people. You can choose your method. So then you are going for an interpretation. Then multi-phase mixed method. If you are involved in a longitudinal study or a multi-project or large-scale project, maybe you are doing your evaluation, the baseline study this year. Maybe you are doing a midterm study, maybe another 3 years time. Then you are doing an end evaluation after 5 years. So this kind of situation, you can use multi-phase mixed method research. That's why I am saying the examples were given here: longitudinal, multi-project, or large scale. So overall program objective, you can take it. Then you study one. Maybe you can go with the mixed method, either quail or quail. Then inform. Then you go with the study two. Same procedure you can follow. Then study three, you can follow the same procedure. Either go with quail or quail, but it can be done in a different phases. Um, we discussed the first part. Now we were moving to now we were moving to the second the now we were moving to the second part. So now we were the second part of today's discussion. It is about reliability and validity in qualitative research, as well as triangulation in qualitative research. So this is very much important. I hope you can able to remember what is reliability and validity in general. But today we are going to discuss, our discussion is going to be centered around the application of reliability and validity in qualitative research, as well as the triangulation. Triangulation is a new component generally used in qualitative study. So I believe you studied this part, reliability, validity, in your quantitative research also. Now I just recollecting that one. Reliability, if you are doing it in continuously, the result supposed to come in the same result supposed to come. The validity is also there is no big change. The result, the source of data supposed to be a valid one. So qualitative validity means that the researcher checks for the accuracy of the finding by employing certain procedure, while reliability, it indicates that the researcher's approach is consistent across different researchers and different projects. So validity means the researcher makes sure he or she need to check the accuracy of the findings by employing different procedures. So that different procedure he need to employ. That procedure ultimately check the validity of the data. The reliability, it indicates that the researcher's approach, the research instruments, is consistent across different researchers and different projects. There is no variations. Wherever you are doing particular research, the results supposed to be come as the same. If the different type of results are coming, means there is a lacuna in your mechanisms or in your data collections instrument. There is a reliability is question. The same questionnaire, if you are using in the same conditions in different places, the result supposed to be same. That is reliability. So the both the validity, people are using differently understood, but in general, the term it found with qualitative literature that addresses validity, such as you can able to say trustworthiness. Validity means trustworthiness, authenticity, or credibility. So any form, validity means it's a trustworthy or authenticity or credibility. All this different wordings are giving same meaning. That is called validity. So one of the validity, how to do the validity? What are all the strategies we need to apply in our qualitative study? So there are so many strategies are there to validate our data. So the first and foremost validation strategy is triangulation in qualitative study. Triangulate different data sources of informations by examining evidences from the source and use it to build a coherent justification for your team. So you are collecting your data from the same source, but using different mechanisms, different tools. For example, you are collecting the income related data. You are collecting income related data using social mapping. The same income related data you can employ using the exercise like the ranking, or either pairwise or something like that. Maybe you are collecting some data from social mapping. The same data, if you are using another tool, the data is supposed to be same. So what you are doing here, the information is same, but you are collecting the same information from different tools. It means the result is supposed to come in same. If there is any big differences, then your data source is wrong, or the data source giving wrong information to you. So you need to triangulate your data using different source. That is called triangulations. The second important strategy, using member check. So use member check to determine the accuracy of qualitative findings through taking the final report or specific descriptions or themes back to the participants and determine whether these participants feel that they are accurate. In qualitative study, usually we used to say this as a dissemination workshops. So once you finish your report, then the draft report need to be presented to the participants. Those who have participated in the study, they need to reflect the report written by you. So it's a dissemination workshop. Dissemination, it's a one way of checking your report again. If there is any improvement or corrections needed, it can be done in member checking. So mostly the dissemination workshops, it's a kind of a member checking. Then you can take it to the outside audience. So first level of member checking is supposed to be done using internally. It's supposed to be used in along with the members, or you can say the stakeholders. in there are other strategies also. Validation strategies are usually used in qualitative study. When you are writing a report, use rich and thick descriptions to convey the findings. It is not just writing a single sentence. You can make it single sentence as the title, then title is supposed to be explained with a detailed manner. So in your explanations, you are going to apply rich and thick description to elaborate your findings. Then you also to clarify the bias of the researcher, the bias the researcher brings to the study. Maybe sometimes if I'm the researcher, maybe my thoughts also jump into the research report. So it is better to explain the data source. Sometimes you also put your thoughts. So wherever you are putting, that cases may need to be highlighted by the researcher, because it may lead to bias. So the reader needs to understand whether it is coming from the field or it is coming from the mind of the researcher. So which part is it mostly happen in analytical part. So it's better to explain the scope for bias from the researcher side, and also present negative or discrepant information that run counter to the theme. Don't omit certain discrepancy or negative information in your study. It also need to be informed to the readers. They have to decide whether it is the necessary or unnecessary. The reader can decide. So spend to avoid one of the most important validation strategy to avoid to you need to be stay or you need to spend more time in the field. So spend prolonged time in the field so that you can able to observe so many things and also cross check your data, and also use peer debriefing to enhance your accuracy of the data. So maybe you share your reports with the team member that will make peer debriefing or review the reports, and also engage external auditor so that they can also do review entire project. Some authors were suggested several qualitative reliability procedure. For example, Kipps, he suggested check your transcripts to make sure that they do not contain obvious mistake made during your transcriptions. So if you are in your the recording supposed to be transcribed, that times make sure try to avoid the mistakes. So whatever transcripts are there, it needs to be properly conveyed. So that you need to give extra care. So make sure that there is not a drift in the definition of quotes or a shift in the meaning of quotes during the process of coding. So when you are making coding, make sure there is no drift of informations or drift of definitions when you are making a coding, or shift in the meaning of coding. So when you are converting certain paragraphs into code, you need to be very careful when you are framing the codes. So for if it is on a team research, the coordinate the communication among the coders or by regular documented meetings and by sharing the analysis. It needs to be done if you are doing it in a multi-stage mixed method research. Then you need to engage your data collectors or coders through proper communications, documenting the meetings. This is the way you can able to reduce the data errors. So cross-check codes developed by different researchers by comparing the result that are independently derived from that. So in the third part of this session, it's going to be qualitative generalizations. Generalization is common phenomena in research, but in qualitative study, generalization is very less important. So the qualitative generalization is a term that is used in a limited way in qualitative research, because qualitative research is not 100% going with the generalization things. The intent of qualitative is the form of inquiry is not generalized findings to individual sites or place outside those under the study. So whatever you are involved in qualitative study, most of the findings are very much related with the sites. The results you are deriving, there is a restriction. It applies to the particular context. Don't take this into a broader picture. That's a basic idea behind for qualitative study. That is why generalization is getting less important in qualitative study. So in fact, the value of qualitative research lies in particular descriptions and themes developed in context specific sites. So the particularity rather than generalizability is the hallmark of good qualitative research. But in rare case, there are few discussions in qualitative literatures. You can able to find generalizability, especially it applies in a case study research, which inquirer studies several cases. If you are doing a case study research, if you are involved in many multi cases or several cases, then you can do generalization. For example, the qualitative case study results can be generalized in some broader theories. Generalization occurs when qualitative researchers study additional cases and generalize the findings to a new case. It is possible, but in 99% of the cases, there is no qualitative study is not meant for generalization. It is a context specific or site specific. So it's better to avoid generalization. There are questions. The key questions: what are the some qualitative perspective on validations? What are some alternative procedure useful in establishing validation techniques? Then how is reliability used in qualitative research? What are some alternative stances on evaluating the quality of qualitative research? How do the stance differ by types of an approach to quantitative inquiry? There is two assignments inbuilt with this part. Identify one of the procedure for validation mentioned in this chapter and use it in your study. Also indicate whether your study changed as a result of its use or remained the same. So for the approach you used or planning to use, identify the criteria for assessing the quality of the study and present an argument for each criterion as to how the study meets or will meet each standards. This is the assignments. I hope you can able to follow the discussions. Now we are ending up with unit 3. We will meet next physical class. Then we will decide whether we wanted to continue with the online session or offline session. So bye.